Welcome to Globe Watch with me, Charles Ebune. Politics across the world is a very brutal business. Only one issue is permanent: interest, and interest at times can be dangerously permanent. That is well known in a world where Machiavellian and Leviathan perceptions are dominant. My guest today is a testimony of such life experiences. Barrister BENARD Muna had a brilliant international career, giving him the courage to stand and to dream becoming president of the Republic of Cameroon one day. Few weeks and months ago, he resigned as the chairman of the political party he created. So, has he finally crashed out of politics? If yes, why? Barrister BENARD Muna, welcome to Globe Watch.
Thank you.
Few months ago, you stepped down as the chairman of the political party you founded, yes, the Alliance of Progressive Forces.
Yes.
Are you normal?
I hope so. I hope so. I'm very normal. I'm very normal. I don't think that stepping down from a post, or especially a political post, should be abnormal. It should be normal.
But you know that in this country we have seat-tight political party leaders, and that political exceptionalism is probably not a virtue in Cameroon. Why are you alone?
I think that it all depends upon our philosophy. I am, you can say, a die-hard Democrat. I have been fighting all my professional and private life for the rights of people in various spheres. And when I entered the political domain, what attracted me was what democracy is. That is the real freedom to choose. That's the first point. The second point is that we should have a system by which a person who is in power over his political party or over the nation should be able to know that after about a certain limited period, let's say 10 years, his ideas may have been exhausted.
Sure.
And therefore he must
sure.
step down, yes.
Many will say that you probably have a point, but others will say that you have been practicing political prostitution. You moved from the SDF, created your own political party. Yes. And they think that since the Constitution limited you in standing for another mandate as the chairman of your party, you said that since you have been criticizing others who have been changing constitutions across the world, the best thing to do is to resign and probably in the days ahead create a new political party where you are going to be a new leader. Is that what you intend to do?
Definitely not. I think that, as you rightly say, the first thing to note is that I obeyed and bowed down to the constitution of my party. I think that that is a very important factor. I was party to the drafting of this constitution. Now, if we come to a point where I have to change it so that it suits me, so I can stay on, I think that that is where things start going wrong. So I bow down. Secondly, I still am a member of the political party. I don't intend to make another political party. I think that when you have built something up, yeah, like you build a house and then you call people to come in and so forth, when you cease to be the head of the house, you don't move out. You are there, you are an elderly brother, you are able to advise people how to keep the house going and things like that. So I have no intention of creating any other political party.
You have no intention of creating any other political party.
Yes.
Do you equally assure me in this interview that since you have resigned as the chairman of the PF,
Yeah.
you have no intentions again of running in any capacity for the presidency of the Republic of Cameroon.
You are trying to tell me or get me to deny my rights. I have a right. Everybody has a right under the Constitution to run for any office that he feels that he can do. That is my right. Whether I shall exercise it or not, it depends upon the circumstances. Now, let me make myself clear. Personally, I don't think that at my age, and I'm 76 years old, at my age, I represent the majority of the people of Cameroon. The majority of the people of Cameroon are under the age of 40, about 70% or more.
You are talking about the youths.
Yeah, I'm talking about the youth, but they're Cameroonians, the majority.
Sure, sure, sure.
We should not stigmatize them. Youth does not make them any incompetent. They are a great majority. And I must recognize that they must now start to make their voice heard. And therefore, it is more probable that I will promote looking for a youthful person who can communicate with this generation in order to know the ambitions of the youth, as we say, of the young people, and how they intend to build Cameroon. I am a product of pre-colonial Cameroon, and therefore some of my ideas were formed because of my opposition to colonial rule. And maybe some of these things are still in me, and therefore my own ambitions for this country may be colored by the prejudice of colonial rule. So I think that a young man will be clean.
You just said that you are 76 years old today and that you don't form part of the majority of the Cameroonian people, who are, of course, the young people. But at the same time, you don't rule out the possibility of you running again for the presidency of the Republic of Cameroon. Why do you constantly remain in that world of dreams? You should make a clear statement that, look, I am out of this business for eternity. It is for you now.
That is your own interpretation, if you listen to me very carefully. You want me to say that I do not have the right to run. I have the right to run. The question is whether I will exercise that right. And I've just told you that I have the right to run, but I may not exercise the right because of this, that. I think that we should understand ourselves.
Okay.
So it's for you to draw a conclusion. I'm not going to deny my rights, but at the same time, I'm telling you that it is most probable that I will not exercise that right because of this, that, and that.
This is not the first time you are resigning, because I can remember in the early days when you were a prosecutor, you resigned when you were at the International Tribunal for Rwanda for the 1994 genocide and many other issues. You have a culture of resignation. And why do you constantly resign when probably things become rough?
Oh, life is very exciting. I like to try many things. Life is so exciting. But let us say it is not a culture of resigning. A wise man must know when he has finished a particular project. Now, I was a magistrate with the state until of West Cameroon, until the referendum and the making of a unity state. Now, I found that my freedom of expression as a magistrate and duty was becoming a bit narrowed, and I thought that I cannot continue my career in an atmosphere where I am restricted because of certain bureaucratic procedures. So I resigned as a magistrate. Now I didn't leave law, so I became a lawyer. Yes, at least I'm not yet resigned as a lawyer. And therefore, in this wilder field of law, I was able to perform many things, as you have said. I was able to go to Rwanda. Well, I left Rwanda after 4 years of digging up carcasses, dead bodies, hundreds of thousands. After 4 years of going to the bushes to see how cruel man can be, I think that after 4 years, you want to go out for some fresh air and so forth. Thirdly, I resigned from the SDF, yes, but it is very clear why I resigned. Not because I resigned from politics, but I don't think that the way the ex-SDF was building up their own version of democracy fits me. And I think that today it is quite clear that the policies of the SDF are not the policies of any democratic freedom. That's why.
Well, Chairman Nijom Frundi, probably whom I'm going to have in the days ahead, is going to respond to that assertion by you. But what I want to know is that in 2011, you ran for the presidency of the Republic of Cameroon, and you called for a new constitution, for a new package, a new deal, and a new era of democracy in Cameroon. But you see, one specific element is that it was the first time that in any African country, a leader was taking campaigns online in the Barack Obama system. And that was very special. Again, I ask the question, why do you like exceptionalism?
If it is good, I like it. I think being exceptional is not a crime. It's not a crime. Exceptionality, if it is good. Tell me that what I did was bad, then I will hear you. But if it is good, then exceptionality is a good thing.
You know, in the world of politics, they will show that you want to do some political showbiz, and that you always want to be seen in a special way, and that, of course, at times can create you enmity. Have you ever sensed that?
Every human being is special. Every human being must be seen in a special way. Those who are not trying to be seen in a special way have lost. Every human being on this earth must be special. He must try to show his special way. The question is, whatever speciality he is showing, is it good or bad? That is the question.
Do you think yours is good?
Yeah, I believe in it. That's why I'm in it.
Barrister Bernard Achor-Muna, let me ask you a question which has to do with your own perception of the way the war on Boko Haram is being fought. A few weeks ago, you granted an interview to a privately owned newspaper, Le Jour, if I had it correctly read, yes. And you said that we prepared the grounds for Boko Haram.
Yes.
Why did you say so?
It's very, very easy. First of all, you know there's a great debate going, is Boko Haram Cameroonian or not? For the time being, Cameroonians are identified by the identity card. That is what identifies you for the time being as a Cameroonian. Now, we know, it's a notable fact that during political campaigns and elections, some people in that particular area went over to Nigeria and brought truckloads of people who were giving who were giving Cameroonian identity cards, and who were given voting cards. Now, nobody bothered after the elections to collect these identity cards from them, so they kept them. Now, if Boko Haram recruits them, they can cross the border with a Cameroonian identity card, and you will not know whether he is not a Cameroonian. So the seeds of this particular problem we are having people infiltrating.
But you know that is a very serious allegation you are
making. I don't make it lightly. I can show proof. I don't make it lightly. It is serious. It's about time we stood up. Secondly, I want to know those who took money to go and negotiate with Boko Haram. How did they know them? Somebody must answer this question. The Cameroonians who took money to go and negotiate, how did they know these people? So it's a serious allegation. The high time we get to the bottom of it.
But you know, those questions can only be answered by the intelligence services, and by the way of things in any democratic country, intelligence officers don't come out publicly and say, this is what we did to save the life of the nation.
Yeah, but
even be it in the US, you can quote all the big democracies you know. If you talk to those who killed Osama bin Laden, first of all, the pictures were not shown and whatsoever, they are in the hiding. Why do you think that Cameroonian intelligence officers should come publicly and say, we are the guys who negotiated for the liberation of these
officers? We know who took money from the president. They were not intelligence officers. They were politicians.
They were politicians?
Yes, you know that.
I don't know. Probably
you don't know. Okay, fine.
Probably you have an idea.
Well, if you are a good journalist, you should do more than that. You should know.
Okay, we'll check on that.
Yes.
Let's take a question about your activities in the Central African Republic, and you know of the allegations which have been going on. You were commissioned by UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon to head the Commission of Inquiry of the Makaba, which took place in the Central African Republic. Who did what, where, and how?
Now, you know that since the independence of the Central African Republic, the drama of this country is that they only had about 2 elections at the time. Two leaders were elected, but they have always had a change of government by coup d'etat. The next drama is that after every coup d'etat, there was the so-called national reconciliation, which was really a means of amnestying those who killed others and so forth. So the Commission, the United Nations thought that we should put a stop to this circle of violence. Now, who did what? That is what we went to investigate. Why was the violence? Who was doing what? Well, I wrote, my commission wrote a confidential report in which we gave names, and the names are with the Secretary General of the United Nations. And I'm sure that as they have given priority.
Is it a confidential report that you may say report, you are not authorized to give public the names?
It's a confidential report. You see, you don't, when you are investigating a case, until you put it to court, you don't start distributing the names of the people whom you think have committed offenses, because it is a prejudice to their own rights. They remain innocent until proven guilty. So until they are going to court, then the name will be released in court. Those who make the investigation, especially in a political atmosphere as it is, has to keep confidential. So they
can you have a public sense of how dangerous the abuses were in the Central African Republic?
Yes, the abuses.
Can you qualify them?
Yes, the abuses were dangerous because, in the sense that you had a situation where people used the political atmosphere for vengeance. And then those who want to stay in power, they will collect people and just execute them and then throw the body into the bush. It came to a point where the country was divided between Muslims and non-Muslims. And then there were an area in which the Muslims dominated, and there was a no-go area for non-Muslims. And there was an area which the non-Muslims dominated, and it was a no-go area for Muslims. So that the danger was that it was not organized in such a way that you say, okay, there are troops of these people on this side and there are troops on this side. It was such that even people who were working for us, and some were killed in the United Nations because they were going to give food to some parts, or because they were going to investigate. They passed through areas where some of them were killed. That had
in that your report, which is confidential, does it indict some UN staff, some French soldiers, of serious sexual abuse cases, as it is reported today in especially Western media?
Yes. At that time, our mandate was to investigate the violence, the political violence and the killing. Another authority is investigating the abuse of sexual violence. So we concentrated on the war, the killings, we concentrated on the violence as people move from area to area. How do they get the guns, and what do they do? What do they do in killing? Do they use the guns and so forth? So that is what we concentrated on.
One of the persons who played a key role in the stabilization of the Central African Republic, where it is today, is Cameroonian General Martin Tumenta, who died in the course of that battle after a protracted illness, according to the family, appointed by UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon. Was his loss a tremendous blow to the peacekeeping mission in the Central African Republic?
Yes, it is because he, first of all, was the commander of the Central African Forces, which were put in place by the African Union. And therefore he started from the beginning and started to build the knowledge of what was causing the violence. I had the occasion of talking to him many, many times and so forth, and I was impressed by his approach, by his determination and so forth. Now, when the United Nations now decided to come in, I think that they too were impressed because he was chosen out of, the dozens of generals all over the world who applied for the post. And he was chosen, therefore, I think the United Nations and the Secretary General especially recognized his special abilities. Therefore, his unfortunate passing away is of a very, very big loss to
we are towards the end of the interview. Maybe one last question. Let me go back to you personal. You say you are 76 years today old, and probably you advise that a young Cameroonian should be interested in politics to come govern this country one day. You heard my introduction saying that in the world of politics, it is a very dangerous world. Who did you betray in politics, and were you also betrayed? And how did you sort out the issues?
Charles, I will recommend you to read my book, God the Politician. You can decide to do something nicely, or you can do it wrongly. I have not betrayed anybody in politics. I have stood for my principles. And my principles may be against...
When you say you have never betrayed somebody in politics, there are so many people, I'm sure if I talk to them, they would tell me that you betrayed them. And when you make such a statement, it seems to me that you are unrealistic and unapologetic.
No. I'm quite frank. I want the person to come forward and say, I betrayed. I think that in Cameroon, we have started to confuse opposition to betrayal. I oppose Fundi. I oppose his method. Doesn't mean I betrayed him. We're still friends. When we meet, we laugh. I betrayed him to who? I betrayed him to who? When you betray somebody, it means that you go behind his back and you tell somebody certain bad things that he did. That is called betrayal. But I opposed him, and I oppose some politicians. That is not betrayal.
So in your political career, in your prosecuting career, in your other activities across the world, you have no regrets to make?
I have no regret. Maybe I could have worked harder in certain fields. I think we all make mistakes. But that is life. That's experience. You cannot take it back. I cannot go back now and work harder where I should have worked harder. I think that I take it as part of what I have done in life. Some were good, some were bad. But the important thing, did I do these things honestly? Was my intention an honest one? I will say yes. And even if you have honest intentions, you may sometimes do things in a way which does not go right and so forth. So
Finally, do you abide to the assertion that politics is a very brutal business?
No. Politics, what is politics? Politics is the art of governing human beings. Who created human beings? God created human beings. What does that mean? Politics must be done in a godly way. You cannot govern the people created by God in a satanic way, in a way you like. You have to govern them according to how God, who created them, wants to govern them. Therefore, politics, you can choose. You can, like in a society, you can choose to be a thief, or you can choose to be an honest man. Some people can choose to do politics dishonestly. I chose it. I chose to do it honestly, and I have no regrets.
Barrister Bernard Achuomuna, thank you very much
indeed for
being a guest on Global Watch.
It's very nice having you again. It's always a pleasure.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay.